Hello, I'm Tony. I'm from Finland, and I'm here to argue why you should take seriously the European intelligence that Russia might be preparing to attack a NATO country in as short as in months. Now, as you might know, Finland has a long border with Russia, and we have a very long history of fighting wars with them, and our culture is partly influenced by them, and we share the same ethnicities who now speak Russian, used to speak languages that are related to Finnish. Now, it is not smart for Russia to do this, but Russia is not smart. It was not smart for Russia to attack Ukraine, yet here we are. It's showing no signs of letting down, even though its own economy is crashing. It has wasted hundreds of thousands of lives, and millions are permanently wounded, and it just keeps going. And this is because even though Russia is cunning, it is devious, it is even strategic, but it is not smart. And Russia cannot get smart because Russia lacks care. It does not care for its own people. So in a way that we think is smart, never applies to Russia. That's why, even though we think that why should Russia now attack Europe, because it's for sure it will completely collapse. Actually, Russia has a long and predictable history of doing it. It has again and again, it throws itself at a wall, destroys itself, and then it picks up the pieces, then it tries to get better for a while, and then it again reverts back to its old self, and then it does it over and over again. It has destroyed itself before, and I would say it would be stupid for us to not be honest about what Russia's history is. It will destroy itself again, and I think it's only fair that we take the facts that what Russian culture is and what Russian culture lacks, and use that to predict what Russia will do. And just like it destroyed itself before, it now sees that, hey, USA is busy in Iran and the NATO Baltic states, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia. They have mostly American weapons, and USA has already announced that the resupply and munitions for exactly the weapons that Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia are using, resupplies will be delayed. So as Putin now, sees that his own economy will crash soon and his demographics will crash soon, he won't have the men nor the military output to do it in 5 years. So for him, it would be now or never, as USA is wasting all its precious, expensive and shining weapons somewhere else. And also USA is pulling back its presence, especially from the Baltic states. Now, Russia is a bully, and bullies don't back down. But bullies will also throw themselves at the wall and destroy themselves. And that's what we should be preparing for. European safety is to let Russia we lift up the shield and let Russia crash on it. And the only people who can stop this now is actually the Russian people. And I have great sympathy for the Russian people, but history has not treated them nicely, and they have been subject to oppression for centuries. So it's like, don't blame them, even though they are the only ones who can turn this around. But it's just that their track record with freedom and democracy isn't exactly very good. And they don't perhaps even have the tools nor the mindset to really free themselves, and we can't help them. They have to learn from their own mistakes, and the only thing we can do now is hope that they finally pull themselves together. They might see that the war is just too expensive and they have to stop it. But before that happens, I think it's too long off. Putin might see that, yes, okay, revolution is coming, but it's only coming in 2027. So he might feel that, okay, now is my last chance. So he could, cause a provocation in one of the Baltic countries, try to take as much ground as he possibly can, and then throw a nuke. Threaten the nuke that, okay, if you don't give me what I want, I will destroy the whole of Europe. And, he will threaten Paris, London, Berlin, everyone. He will just, it would be this last gamble, go for broke kind of thing. So, and it is only Russian to do this. Like, we here in the Eastern Europe, yes, we know this, but the problem is that the people in the Western Europe, they are too much tied in with Russian money, because Russians have money. They have money. It's not very equally distributed, but a lot of businessmen have a lot of it, and they have many freedoms to do a lot of things with that money, and Russian business is kind of enables a lot of shady business in Europe, and many rich people are kind of dependent on that kind of they need their kind of Russian shady people to take care of things that they can't get done otherwise. So Western Europe is unfortunately, especially Belgium, is because they handle a lot of money, is way too entrenched in Russian lies, and the Russians they see are the oligarchs. They don't see the normal people, and the oligarchs are very good at, pretending to be Western values. But when they get back home and when they do politics back home, they are all for this imperial systems, and and who can blame them? The whole system is set up for rich people to get richer and the poor people to never have a say in things, and the poor people's. The Narod in Russia is their whole culture is to be proud of suffering. That's it. And unfortunately, people, we need to learn from history, and of course Europe is much stronger than we believe. We've kind of hung on to the coattails of USA for so long, and also USA kind of they really wanted this situation that Europe would be weak, but if we look at our own actual power position, it's we are strong. Europe is really strong, our economy is huge, and I mean, so far we've only used 0.5% of our GDP to help Ukraine, while when it was COVID and the last financial crisis, we used 2.5% of GDP just to support our own economy. So it won't be a problem, even though if Russia, we need to fight Russia. Trust me, the only problem is that Russia will probably use nukes, but we have to be prepared for that, and we can't let them again bully us with nuclear weapons, because then they will just do it again. If they are successful, then they will just pull another one after they crash. Then they will try to do it again. But the calculation is that they can pull off something before their whole economy crashes, and Putin can then use this war to mobilize and not pay the soldiers, but declare that this is an existential war, and then mobilize huge amounts of people against their will, and then hope that the total control that he can bring with the war will prevent a revolution for I don't know, months or years before then it finally does crash. But how much they get to destroy before that happens, that's on us. We have to lift up the shield, and we have to hold them back and let them destroy themselves in the shield. That's the only option, and we must not be afraid of our own power, and we must believe that we have the power, and not let the Russian cunning, devious, and strategic rhetoric disencourage us, because we are strong and we are smart. We care for the future. We are not here for empire. We are here just to live in peace, and we can do it. We really can, but we have to now stop closing our eyes, and we have to face reality as it is. Ukraine is a great example of showing what people who are proud in themselves can do, and how powerful small people can be when they join together, and how weak a large empire like Russia can become, and how fragile it is in the end.